Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Women on the Rise DEEVA chat live for you here on this Thursday evening. I have for you tonight our very own Dr. Marcelline Girlie and our very own Anika Allen, who is going to serve as the host with the mostest here tonight. So I am going to tune myself out. I'm going to be in the comments with all of you, bringing in your questions and so forth and help to navigate this conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy this edition of DEEVA Chat.
All right, I want to make sure I'm centered there. Great. Hello, everybody. And thank you. Should I call you doctor? Can I call you doctor? Dr. Girlie.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
You earned it. You earned it. So I see we have people checking in. While they are doing that, I'm going to go over your bio. And for those who don't know, although I think everybody checking in knows that today we're going to be talking about stress, which is, on everybody's mind because of the quarantine. Well, actually, we had stress as women before the quarantine even occurred. But we're going to be talking about stress, what it means to us as parents, and then specifically how it's impacting our children and how we can improve that situation. So I see how you got Tatiana, Arden. Arden doesn't miss one. Miss Nikki is here. Hey. Tatiana, hello, everybody. Okay, so let's start with Dr. Marcelline Girlie. It's so funny. I did my first moderation just to help out for our diva Arlene, who is juggling lots of balls, and she's also a mom, so she has a lot going on. Right. And the first person I interviewed, if that's what you want to call it, another Haitian. So anyway.
Hey.
So for those who don't know or who may not have read it in the bio, Dr. Marcelline is a Haitian born native, but you actually grew up in St. Martin?
St. Martin, yes, okay. And moved to the U.S.
St. Martin, not Martin, like on the TV show. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, I'm American, excuse me. All right, so you are dual certified family and psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, which when it comes to psychiatry, we need that when we're talking about our children. Right. Various experience in different emergency medicine, critical care, primary care, and very appropriate for today, you have experience in pediatrics. Your scope encompasses health promotion, disease prevention, diagnosis, and management of both the everyday common as well as the complex healthcare problems that begin at infancy and go all the way through our lives. You have an intense approach to care and advocacy, and specifically the family. Now, outside of the science part, because most of us wear multiple hats, you have also cultivated a passion for fashion, which we can see you all glammed up there looking good. I like it. Anika, the other Anika who did the fashion thing, she would approve. You got this all up here. I don't know if you're wearing, shorts on the bottom, but up here,
oh, honey, yes,
you're rocking it.
Always together.
I got my yoga pants on the bottom, so I was rushing today. Anyway, but your passion for fashion has developed into a body positive brand for the everyday curvy plus size woman called CurvEssentials Boutique. I'm going to say it again for those of you who want to check it out. CurvEssentials Boutique. The boutique blossomed into a community of women that informs, inspires, and influences women to fulfill their God-given passions out loud by encouraging women to quiet those internal and external social distractions by advocating for your physical, mental, and spiritual health. You're looking at the woman, not just from the outside of fashion, but her as a whole person, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And very then it basically wraps up by saying that you are inspired to others to sort of meet yourself right where you are in order to motivate change, which we talked about a little bit before. If you get into a comparison game of trying to compare yourself to somebody else, that is not where it's at. You need to be starting from where you are and going from there. So some of that might come up today. I'm not sure as it relates to stress. Usually when we get on these chats, we start talking about a little bit of everything. So
and that is okay. We're here for it.
Welcome. Why was this topic important to you, since you actually have your hands in so many different areas? Why specifically did you want to share with us how we can handle stress as parents?
Well, first of all, I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I wear lots of hats, like you said before. But most importantly, I'm a mom. And I just love spending time with my son and actually watching other moms spend time with their children. And one thing I really realized throughout my career, especially when I worked in pediatrics, is the amount of stress that children are under. And it's silent. Children suffer silently because they have no words to speak out loud. They don't know how to define themselves. So it kind of touched me because during this time with this whole pandemic thing, my son has changed. His attitudes changed. He has been more touchy-feely. He wants you to hold him, and then he'll push you away. Like, what's going on? Why are you so stressed? And I realized it was me. It was what I was doing throughout the day that helped, that kind of cultivated that uneasiness that he was having. And of course,
for those watching, I'm sorry, for those watching, tell us how old your son is so they can relate.
He is 2 years old. He will be 3 in August.
Okay.
So, yes, that terrible too. Could it be that, or could it be me and all the stuff that I'm going through currently?
Okay. You know what? It might be good to always like to get the people who are watching engaged before you start your presentation is to get the ages of the actually age and gender. Does gender matter? Sometimes, I don't want to stereotype, but sometimes gender matters when we're dealing with our kids. If you guys want to post and let us know as moms, what ages and genders are you, dealing with and raising? I'll, go first. I have 2 boys, ages 14 and 18. So they're both freshmen, one freshman high school, one freshman in college. Not exactly the same challenges as a toddler, but trust me, challenging nonetheless. So, so I'll let you start. We want to start talking about stress.
Yes, ma'am. We'll talk about stress. So I will actually share my screen with you all. 1 second.
Our little genie in the bottle back there, Arlene will make sure when you need it to.
Okay.
It's just a slight delay from one system to the next. So I see we still have more people coming in. Oh, somebody was complimenting your hair. Doesn't it look good? I know you're talking about mom. Watch yours, honey. It looks good. Turn to the side so we can see it a little bit. Looks good.
Yes. This is my way of summer body, summer ready. Keeping it light.
Yes, if these people act like they got some sense, maybe summer won't be all the way canceled. But that's a whole nother. Don't get me on my soapbox about
a whole nother subject.
Y'all out here not wanting to follow directions, about to have Christmas be canceled. Okay, sorry. So the ages. Oh, it looks like we have a little bit all over. We have 7-year-old boy. We have a 3-year-old boy. And somebody put their babies in air quotes because we know babies are 9 and 1. They're always going to be our babies. We know that.
That's right.
Both girls and boys. Somebody has a 23-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old son. And trust me, they have the words to articulate. Trust me. And they like to use them. Mine are flexing a little bit, because they know everything right now. So I just want you to keep that in mind as we're talking. There are moms on who have kids from toddlers all the way up to, young adults.
Yeah.
Did your screen? I'm still waiting for it to load here so we can see your first slide. I can't see it yet.
Let's see what's going on.
Go to the other thing so I can see if there's any notes that you need to do. Sometimes you have to start over, kind of unshare and reshare and see if it'll come through. So glad to see so many people, though. Most people must be so excited to get some ideas, which I hope we'll talk about on specific things they can do to not just relieve the stress, but just break up some of this monotony, just sort of bring fun back, get the family back to a relaxed posture. And even if you guys have some stuff to share later, that'll be good as well. There it is. We can see your stress. It can really get on your nerves. I love that. All right. Yes. Take it away, doctor.
All right. Stress, it can really get on your nerves. I actually like this title so much. It's actually a book. And after reading it several times, I was like, you know what? I love it. I have to write a presentation one way or another on stress. So when I was asked by Arlene to present this topic, I was like, perfect timing. Perfect timing. So let's see. As you all know, May is our Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'd like to bring this up because we have Mental Health World Day. We have all kinds of stuff, but May is an entire month that is dedicated to mental health. So what a perfect subject to be presented this month. There is a stigma around mental health, as we all know. Everyone is silent about it. But 1 in 4 people will suffer from some form of mental health illness in any given year in their lives. And that's a lot of people. That's in 1 in 4 friends. Somebody will have
I think 2 of my friends that's a little off already. No, they probably saying the same thing about me. Go ahead.
True, but I mean, I can say that about myself. They probably think something about me, but that's okay because I want to be aware of my own state of mind, right? Yes. So I like to encourage others to seek help. I like you to raise awareness of mental health and mental illness and where to seek help. So it's very important that you're connected in the community, knowing who your psychological, your psychiatrist, your therapists and counselors, who those providers are, is so important, especially this time of the year. And so if you have friends out there suffering from anxiety, depression, even if they're functionally dysfunctional, which is a term that I love to use, just go ahead and point them in those directions. So it's so important to tap into your local resources when it comes to that kind of stuff. So people can seek effective and appropriate and timely support during this time. So yay for Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
Make sure I tell you guys that.
And I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the group, but for those of us who do work for a traditional company or corporation, a lot of them have an EAP, an Employee Assistance Program. And a lot of times you can get your first sessions with these different kind of professionals for free. Costs no money for you to just go. It's totally confidential. So for those who do work for a traditional corporation, you can look into your EAP, Employee Assistance Program. They give you referrals for, physicians, attorneys, car mechanic, a lot of things. But mental health is one of them, and you can do that for free. Do a session or 2. Sometimes you get anywhere from 5 to 9, depending on your organization, and it costs you nothing. Some people are hesitant also. They think it's going to be too expensive. So that's another thing in terms of finding resources.
Of course. And in the county itself, Orange County, Seminole, and Osceola, I know that the counties provide these type of services as well, free or low cost. So it's so important to just tap into those things and let's get healthy together. I don't feel like anyone's on this journey alone. We're all in it together. I know that's a saying has been cliche this year, but it's the truth when it comes to mental health. Your mental health wellness impacts my mental health wellness, believe it or not, even if we're connected or not. Family or not, it's very important.
Agreed.
All right, so let's jump in because I'm getting excited. I love talking about kids, and you'll see why as we go through. So what is stress? Okay. And this is a word we throw around so many times. What is it? Oh, I'm stressed. Oh, I'm tired. I'm stressed. I'm overwhelmed. But I like people to know what it really is. It's an internal state of strain. We're pressured. We're tense. There's a demand on our mental and emotional health. This demand actually goes into the physical health. I mean, you see the zebra, he's losing his stripes. Some women, we lose hair. Some women lose weight, gain weight. I think it's stress. I used to have pimples on my face and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I think it's stress. And it can be because a lot of our stressful lives and our toxic environments, it does surface one way or another physically. So I like to make sure that I define the word stress because we throw it around so much. Webster defines it as a physical, chemical, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension. And it can be caused by physical, environmental, social, or self-inflicted, right? Potentially harmful, it's uncontrollable, and it exceeds our resources for coping. So whatever coping mechanisms you have, your stress and what caused this stress exceeds that. So I like to define that because we use the word stress so much. But that zebra speaks to a lot of us.
It does. That's cute.
So being that I am in the science field, I always have to bring in the scientific side of it all. I mean, her picture, that's me on some days, if not every day, trying to figure out life, right? Mm-hmm. I'm stressed. I'm pulling out my hair. Where does it come from? How did this scientifically happen? What happened to cause me to feel this way, this overwhelming way? Well, there's always a science behind it. And the brain is a beautiful yet complex organ. And I like talking about it because you're not going to know how you got to a place unless you know where it started. Yes. So in our body, in our brain, our beautiful brain, we're so wonderfully made and crafted. We have a sympathetic nervous system. When we're stressed, is triggered. So there's a lot of shots being fired. If you think about, an electricity plug that starts sparking out of everywhere, that's that system. Our brain sparks a lot all the time. Imagine that one organ is controlling every single piece of our bodies, from our heart, our language, our movement, our muscles, everything. So it's that sympathetic nervous system starts to trigger. Our heart rates increase, our blood pressures increase, we start cortisol, and cortisol is one of those things that the stress hormone that our body releases. This stress hormone causes inflammation, and it causes like an immunosuppressive property that happens. I don't like cortisol. Cortisol is one of those things that causes weight gain. So I want to keep that down as much as possible. But knowing
most of us do. Yes, you are not alone.
But knowing when we're stressed out, that increases. So it's so important that we know what happens, neurobiologically in our brains, biologically, when we're stressed out. Imagine this happening in your child. Can they define it? Not so much. They probably feel like they're going to pass out. They don't understand the increase in the heart rate or the blood pressure. They don't even know what that means, but it happens. But the other thing that happens in this whole nervous system is the parasympathetic activity. Now, parasympathetic, if you're thinking about Rico Suave, cool, smooth, chill, lay by the beach, that's your system. That is the system right there. Now, when we are stressed and that sympathetic nervous system starts triggering and we start going fire, 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 that parasympathetic system that should be calming us down, it decreases, which we need it to be nice and level, because we need our bodies and our automatic bodily functions to continue to be stable, like what we call homeostasis. We want it stable, clean, calm all the time. That's not happening when we're stressed out. So I know y'all like, this girl gave me a science lesson. Listen. Yes. What am I talking about? You want to know the sympathetic nervous system? It prepares our bodies to fight, to flight, to run. It makes us feel like we're in danger, which is good because it's a warning sign. And the parasympathetic system, it inhibits the body from overworking. It calms us down. It regulates blood pressure. It makes us want to chill. It helps us to restore our calm and composed states. That's where we want to be in our everyday life. And can I get an amen on that? I like
to get an amen. So what we want to do is anything that attacks that system, we don't want any parts of it, because we need to get out of that state.
Because first of all, I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to lose my hair, and I don't want to gain not one more pound. I'm a curvy girl, love every inch of my curves, but I like to keep them things under control, right? So think about all what stress does is dysregulates what is normal and balanced for us. So I had to make sure I put that out there. So.
Okay, we love learning new terms. We're all about growth and intellectual expansion up in Women on the Rise. So
that's right. That's what we do. We love growing together, and I love growing with you all. So I'm so happy to be able to do this. So let's talk about the types of stress. Now, you have stress that's acute, it's short term. It's really well defined, like it says right here on the presentation. You know it's going to start, it's going to end. That's when you're starting a project for work, or your son or daughter is starting a project for school, or they're learning how to walk, they're learning how to crawl. They know that it's going to begin and it's going to end. Chronic stress, long term, just like the word says, it's chronic. We don't know when it's going to end. It's stress that is like, I don't know, like a terminal disease, if I can put it in that term. We don't know when it's going to stop. So it's going to be a constant space of that sympathetic system going nuts. Can you imagine a sparked wire doing that for a while? It's going to catch on fire. That's exactly what happens to the brain. We're under chronic stress, right? But both acute and chronic stress can trigger our body's like physiological stress responses. That means that increased heart rate I was talking about, the blood pressure I was talking about, and other things we'll actually continue to discuss.
Okay.
Good stress and bad stress. We throw that around too. Oh, it's good stress. Oh, it's bad stress. So how do we define it? So good stress in psychology, we call it like eustress. So it's like, I'm getting a promotion. That's great stress. I'm working out. That's amazing stress. I'm feeling excited. My pulse may quicken, increase, but it's going to go all the way back down. I'm going to have that good surge of endorphins. I'm happy. There's a good place. Yes, my sympathetic system is firing, but it's also firing joy, right?
Okay.
It's happily doing so. It's not doing so under tension, okay, and under strain or pressure, because that's what's happening in that bad stress side.
That could be like, because we have a lot of women who own their own businesses here. Could that fall into that category of good stress, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You took the leap. You're going to do it. Open it up. Yes, you got a lot coming at you, but this is what you've been wanting to do. So it's a lot to handle, but it can be a good stress.
Yes, ma'am. It's a good stress when you're having a baby. It might be a bad stress when you're trying to birth the baby, but it still turns back into a good stress.
Right.
You know, it's a good stress watching your children grow, but then you might be stressed about letting them do too much or go too far. Mm-hmm. But it goes back to being a good stress because you have a healthy child, or you know how to provide and care for them. So we go back and forth. So staying in one state versus another all the time, it's not beneficial. We need a little bit of both, but we have to be able to control it. And that's where it comes. That's the important part, being able to identify it and to be able to control it, controlling that environment. So we always want balance.
Okay.
Always want balance. So let's talk about the little ones, because I like to give a general definition of what stress looks like, because it's all, not looks like, but stems from, because it's all the same. Just because you're an adult versus a little human, I call them sometimes, or children or baby, it's all the same. The brain works exactly the same, but the presentations may be a little bit different just because little ones can't really talk. They can't really tell you anything. So what I came up with, especially during practicing and seeing children all the time, parents didn't know how to identify this. So in medicine altogether, or science, there's lots of acronyms. So one day I was sitting there with a patient and trying to figure out how to teach a parent how to identify stress in their child and how to help them with the coping. And this acronym came to mind and it stuck. It's been about 4 or 5 years and I'm still using it. It's still relevant today. So I wanted to share this with you because it's going to be pretty simple how you pick up stress in your child at home. And the acronym is called PLAY. And I love the word play because what child doesn't play, right? Yeah. Or want to play. So play stands for physical, language, attitude, and yield. Physical, language, attitude, and yield.
And this can be applied to children of all ages, correct? It's not just for toddlers? Okay.
No, it can be applied for children of all ages, although I'm presenting it as younger children, you know. However, you can use this as an adult. You know, you can use this in your teenagers. You can use it at your college students. It's all the same. You're just going to watch how it unfolds developmentally in whatever stage or stage of development that they're in.
Okay, good to know. Since we had women with children of all different ages, we want to definitely make sure we're mindful of that. Also, while we, because we have a few people who have joined us, welcome, ladies. While the doctor is talking, can you put in, from a scale of 1 to 10, what is your stress level? Not in general, because we know we have different stress at work, different stress in our relationship, etc. As a parent, what would you say, scale 1 to 10? Where would you rank your stress level? 1 being very low and 10 being, about to strangle somebody. And not talking about just today, because I had that about to strangle somebody moment today. And just overall, especially as we've been in this pandemic, where would you say, on a scale from 1 to 10, your stress level as a parent has been? And then we'll see some of those come in and we'll try to address some of those as well. So go ahead. I want to hear more about play.
All right. So play, the first word, physical. When we start thinking about stress, we start thinking about just the mental state. But in children, it starts to manifest first, typically within their physical body. And what you'll hear complaints about is, I had a lack of appetite, or they start eating too much. You're noticing that they're in the pantry all day, or they're not eating at all. You offered the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They don't want to eat. There's a physical decrease in their appetite. Some parents have complained of new onset nervous tics, right? And in adults and teenagers, they start biting their nails. Okay, there's something to do. They have to find something to do. With the nervous tic, people start thinking that they have a tic disorder. Not necessarily. It's something that they're using to calm them down. Mm-hmm. Some starts blinking, but first, let me put this disclaimer out there. I do have parents come to me all the time. They're excessively blinking. The child's eyes are just dry. Please get them some drops, please. Okay. But you do have those when they start to try to concentrate or speak, you notice new onset tics. They're nervous tics. Those do develop when they're underneath stress.
Okay.
I have children who present with headaches, no difficulties with their vision, don't have any difficulties with hearing, never had a head injury or anything. Headache. The headache is why. We talk about the sympathetic system. There's a lot of firing happening, just like you and I. When we're overwhelmed at the end of the day, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, I have a headache. Tension headaches from concentrating too hard at work. Those do manifest in children. It doesn't necessarily mean that there is a complex issue going on besides stress. So that's why it's so important that we know some of these signs to look for. I've had complaints of chest pain, shortness of breath. What can that be? Remember, with the sympathetic nervous system, what happens? The heart rate increases. So they think that's chest pain. And sometimes their shortness of breath is squeezing their little chest. So guess what? It's painful. So parents are running to the ER. My son or my daughter has chest pain and they're checked out. Nothing's really going on.
Wow, that is scary though. If you experience that with a kid, that can be very scary. Yeah,
it is very scary.
List here of all these different things we might not be thinking about. If anybody is watching, let us know if you've seen, just on this specific category of physical, have you seen any of these changes in your children, especially since, school has been canceled and they're sort of isolated from their friends and a normal routine of being active and playing. Has anybody seen any of those? Feel free to share.
Please do share. I've had the complaint of nightmares. They don't want to sleep in their own bed. They're not sleeping a lot. What's going on? Some parents think they're just being clingy when in fact there's stress going on for some reason. Maybe it's a nighttime routine change. Something's happening that's causing a physical manifestation of stress. Typically, I can tell you one in every probably 5 or 6 parents come to me with difficulty concentrating, because the first thing we're going to think about is ADHD. Oh, my kid has ADHD. They can't concentrate on classwork or even put a cup in the sink. There is something wrong. We start assessing, start talking about the daily life of that child. We find that they're underneath stress, some kind of change in the family. They're moving, they're being pressured, they're being bullied. Something's going on in that environment. So I want to really emphasize on these symptoms, because I don't want my Women on the Rise, with my Women on the Rise family or my extended family and friends to run to the doctor for difficulty concentrating or any of the symptoms on here. I want us to actually do our homework. Let's study our kids. Let's really just pay attention to these complaints and see, do they have a stop and do they have a start? Can we go back and journal and see, hey, what changed at home before we run and go to see the doctor? And I mean, trust me, they want to take your money.
Yeah. Well, you can see somebody here said, we had a couple of people, let's see, Miss Nikki, grandson complains of headaches. And then somebody else said their son complained of chest pains.
Right.
Said, he has autism and she thought it was related to growth pains. And that's when you see here chest pains or, anything like that, that can be scary. So I can see why some moms and dads would want to be, running to the hospital immediately.
Yeah. Exactly. And and I like to put this out there, if you can reproduce the pain, if the pain can be reproduced by touch, by running, by anything that would cause a shift in the child's movement, please go to the ER. If it can't be reproduced with rest or anything like that, please, you might as well just continue to watch it. I'm not saying prolong, but at least 24 hours. Let's pay attention. Unless you see any distress, then please go to the ER. Most definitely.
Really good advice. Okay.
Yeah. So how about our language? L is for language and play. And I like to encourage parents to listen and decode their children's vocabulary. So you'll hear children say, I'm worried, or I'm confused, especially this time with this pandemic. I'm worried, I'm confused, I'm annoyed, I'm angry, I'm tired, I'm mad. Why? What's going on? They are often not familiar with the word stress or its meaning. So they may express feelings of distress through other words. So I want us to get used to our children's vocabulary and start to pinpoint negative self-talk. I'm ugly, I'm bad, I'm not fun, I can't make friends. I'm not popular. I'm not loved. And it's all internally trying to let you know something is stressing this child out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good to know. Or I was looking for the signs for my son. I keep checking on him probably too much. My 14-year-old, he's like, Mom, I'm fine. I'm just bored.
Right.
I'm bored.
I mean,
and somebody else put on here that their son really misses the school, like the strict rules of school. And I guess, the way things had a certain cadence and, they don't play. She says he doesn't like this light schedule. Some kids are like, woohoo, I don't have to get up in the morning. I can chill out. But I think even those kids are like, it's been 2 months. Like, really,
can we get back to reality? Right. Yeah. And for the children who are at home and they're bored, or who are at home and miss the schedule, we still listen to their language, but we also try to recreate that same type of schedule for them one way or another. Right now we have access to all kinds of resources, with YouTube and such, that we can actually recreate a more rigorous schedule. I mean, I hate to say that, for the parents' sake, but recreate class assignments, projects to keep them busy. That child enjoys being challenged. So that's their good stress.
You are speaking my language, honey. I love structure and schedule. When my son told me he was bored, I was like, oh, you bored? Oh, I got about 5 things I can think of that you can do. He was like, no, I'm fine. But yeah, we started to do, again, my kids are older. We started to do TED Talks every week. Told him to find something he's interested in, which the first ones were all about football, but whatever. And just started to think, other than just taking a daily walk, doing puzzles. I taught him some of my old school games.
Right.
I've never seen a 14-year-old try to pick up jacks. It was a hot mess. Right. There are so many things you can do. We've done scavenger hunts, and I had a friend of mine. She has older daughters, but she did an Easter egg hunt for them when Easter was here. And I thought, well, my kids are too old, but I did it, and they thought it was corny at first, but they loved it. So we can, as parents, come up with some things to break up the boredom and the monotony. It takes a little bit of creativity, or, ask your other fellow moms what they are doing. That's what I did. I had some friends tell me, and I said, that's a good idea. Let me try that. And you just never know. It can help break up that.
Yeah. It's so important. And the thing is, you're actually allowing them to use a different style of learning and a different side of their brain.
Yeah.
Because at school, the structure might be something that is more leaning towards the right side of the brain, not the left side of the brain. And here you are doing something that's completely out the box. They don't see you as a teacher. They see you as a parent. So they're seeing you in this different light, and they're learning from you. And you're creating memories. You're creating new muscles, that child probably never used before. So I really encourage that type of involvement. And again, like you said, breaking up the monotony, breaking up what's normal, getting up, going to breakfast, sitting down, doing the work on the workbooks and on the computer, doing something different where they're still growing and learning, and you're getting to know them. You're getting to understand their language. So that's so important, especially right now when everything else is all about pandemic restrictions. There's no freedom. So I like to hear that, Anika. That's great, especially.
Yeah, we'll see as we go on. I want you to get through these very good points that you're going through, but we'll see if some other of our Women on the Rise divas or other people joining us have some other suggestions that they've done, from everything from toddlers all the way up to teens and beyond. We would love to hear share some of those suggestions later. So go ahead.
Perfect. Now, A in play is for attitude. Now, everybody sees these kids. We have all kind of attitudes on this page. They become moody. They can't relax. They're crying. They're emotional. They're fearful. They're retracting. Anxiety. They're worried. Becoming defiant is a thing that I've heard more in the last 2 weeks than I've ever done before. They're becoming stubborn. Some are even going back and destroying things they used to love. Why? Because they're underneath the type of stress that they don't understand, and they have no words to actually relay that to you. And again, that can go from being a toddler, and I've seen some parents have described to me, stress in their earlier, like let's say 10-monther or 9 to 10-monther, and because of the stress that they have going on in their lives. So knowing what the attitude of that child normally is, their homeostasis, their balance, and comparing it to what's going on in this list. If they're becoming irrational, your kid is a very wise individual. Now they're impulsively doing things. They're irrationally saying things that they wouldn't necessarily say on a regular basis and even don't mean. So knowing these things will help us to navigate, understanding stress in our children.
Those are good. I wonder how many people out there watching have been sympathetic to this. I mean, we're all in this quarantine together. There's still uncertainty as to when it'll end or how it's going to spread, etc. How many moms, and you can type in your comments, if you've noticed some changes in your children, have been sympathetic and going, okay, normally he doesn't act like that. I'm going to be a little lenient and a little more flexible and understanding because I know that this child is, affected by the all of the lockdown stuff. Or how many of you are like me at first was like, I don't care what's going on out there. You act like you got some.
Right.
You had to pull back eventually to be like, okay, they're dealing with this too. And that's when I came up with, okay, let's think of different things that we can do. But my initial thought, I'm not trained as a doctor like you to go into my psychologist mode. My initial thought was not, well, they're stressed. And I'm like, yeah, stuff happens in life. It's going to happen for the rest of your life. Right. You got to get your behavior and keep it together. You got to talk to me like you got some sense. You got to keep your room clean. But I started eventually to cut them some slack. So I'm just wondering, how many other moms out there, have you been cutting your children some slack and trying to be a little more understanding and flexible? Here's Claudia. She says she has been
sympathetic.
She said, but it's continuous and it's wearing me down. I understand.
Hey,
I gave you a pass today. I got to give you another pass tomorrow and another pass.
No, I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. Although I teach this all the time, doesn't mean I'm always doing this. Mm-hmm. So like I said, we're in this together. We're all moms. We're all parents and guardians and friends and providers. The hats that we wear are too many sometimes. So sometimes I'm looking at my son like, sit down. Just have a seat. Please.
I know you too, but sit down.
Just sit down. Give me a chance to pull myself together, and then we can deal with whatever tantrum you have going on. You just want a popsicle or a candy or a cookie, and I just worked all day. Yeah. So I just want to put the disclaimer out there. This is not perfect.
We have somebody else. They're probably not using StreamYard, which is why I can't see their name. But she says no sympathy. No one here is going to be nice to my special needs kids. Oh, no one is going to be nice to my special needs kids. So I give him outlets.
Oh, that's perfect.
Is alive and well, ironing a shirt, properly chopping vegetables or meat, how to cook different meals, baking lessons. So she's making sure that her special needs kid
is engaged.
Yeah,
I love that. That's great. And it's because your child and you know how to redirect this. Right. So that's a great thing. One thing I want to touch on with the attitude, I want you all to always pay attention to regression in behaviors. So your kid who is totally potty trained now is wet in the bed. Mm-hmm. Okay, your kid who used to feed him or herself and now wants to be fed, wants a bottle, wants to be babied and comforted. These are signs that there's something going on. Something's changed. Something's bothering them. Let's go back to the drawing board. Figure that thing out. I mean, I might give my son a pass of, being fed maybe once or twice in one day. But after that, buddy, you're going to sit in that high chair and you're going to feed yourself because we're going to figure out why you don't want to do it.
Right. You're not going to forget how to use this spoon. I'm not giving you the excuse of the pandemic.
No,
right. I feel you.
We have to go back and try to really, figure out what's changed, what happened.
Yeah. Somebody said it's touch and go over here. Yeah, because some days you're a little nicer and other days you're like, I'm not here for it. I got my own best to do it. Yeah, I understand.
So why is for yield? And I like the word yield because it makes us slow down and figure out what direction we're going. Imagine a toddler or school age, and even sometimes a high school student. They're yielding. They're in that fork in the road. They don't know where to go. They have to slow down and make a turn, left or right. And sometimes they end up going left versus going to right. They start withdrawing from activities they used to love and had pleasure in doing, playing basketball. They all of a sudden don't want to do it anymore. They don't like drawing. They don't want to be part of the band anymore. They were president of SGA. Mom, dad, I don't want to do that anymore. They start isolating themselves. Okay. Now we have to make sure we're not talking about boredom when a kid decide that they want to be in their room alone or spend time just reflecting. That's a little bit different. When I say social isolation, that means like they're like not talking to their friends anymore. Neighbors come over, they're like, Mom, send them away. They don't even want to talk to you. So they start avoiding you as the parent or the guardian. And this is for siblings as well. I mean, I've used it in my family, just looking around, like, who has decided to withdraw themselves? What is going on? Something has changed, and they're starting to internalize some things, either depression, anxiety, and even other mood disorders start to surface, and that person is hiding or isolating, or that's part of that disease process, keeping them away from anybody else or from things they enjoy. So they'll start abandoning friends. They'll have hostility towards family members, and you're wondering, again, what happened? So anybody has noticed that or experienced that with anyone in their lives or their children?
Yeah, that's a good question to see. Or just in general, what have moms been dealing with? What have been your biggest challenges? I know I'm hearing a lot of my girlfriends, because they have younger kids, just, the homeschooling it's a lot. Right. It is a lot, especially if you have multiple, children, siblings, different ages, and you're trying to keep up with all of their assignments and log them on and, make sure they're paying attention. And, that has been, I know, a big thing. Luckily, mine is college and high school. They're self-sufficient, but I know the younger ones who need help with those assignments, that's a lot. The other thing I've been hearing as moms is just, not having their own space. They're working from home. Right? Some of us have our own home offices, or we're checking in from home, and you got somebody crawling on your head, your neck, tugging at you. They're not used to seeing you all day. So you just don't have enough personal space because they're always there. I know some people are struggling with creativity, going, I know it's a bunch of websites you can go to, and they, but they don't want to make Play-Doh from scratch, and they don't want to make up their own science project. That's just not in them. They're like, I want to do something, but I'm just not the Martha Stewart where I'm going to come up and creative and we're going to go and, I'm tired and I don't want to make up a whole bunch of activities. So share with us, ladies, what has been your own struggles as parents during this time, whether they are younger or older? Mine is just, there's, being bored and just trying to come up with ways to keep his mind engaged and fresh, so he's not waking up, doing a little bit of work, and then playing some video games and going to sleep. So here's somebody said their 1-year-old has become super territorial lately. Yeah. He's like a shadow, going everywhere I go and constantly wants to cuddle. I'm sorry. I have teenagers. I would love that when I go in my son's room, they're just like, what does she want now? She got a little 1-year-old that just wants to cuddle all over. I'm jealous. So anyway, what are some of the challenges that you are hearing, or what are your own personal challenges that you've been dealing with? And then we can address some of the ones that the moms are talking about, like this territorial 1-year-old.
Exactly. I want to throw out there on this yield part too. It came to mind, especially with the college age teenagers withdrawing. Let's pay attention to, what they're doing during that time of withdrawal. This is the time where they start experimenting. They will experiment with different substances, to cope with the feelings that they're feeling, the stress that they're feeling. They're trying to be accepted in society, trying to find their way. They're yielding in the road. Is it college, trade school? Is it sports? Is it going into the workforce? So we pay attention to those things, because those withdrawing times where they're actually, going inward. I like to say it's inward reflection. They may become angry at themselves, angry at their circumstances. Maybe they're not where they want to be right now. So paying attention to that moment that they're in when they're withdrawing and they're avoiding others and isolating.
That's a really good point about the fork in the road, because I have friends who have, seniors. Unfortunately, such a hard year for the seniors this year. But shout out to Women on the Rise for doing the fundraiser and, giving the gift for the 20 senior ladies that we selected. I already made my donation. You guys should too, make a contribution. But there are people who have seniors in college, and they're like, I thought I was going to start this job or here, and now people aren't hiring. Money is tight. You know what I mean? And it can be a lot of anxiety for a young person trying to come out of school in this time and figuring out, well, I thought it was going to be this, and now things are kind of up in the air. So that's a very good point in terms of paying attention to how they handle that, because, especially when you're at school, military, wherever, you have access to a whole bunch of other coping mechanisms, illegal or not, and we don't want them to go down that road. Exactly. Adriana said she thinks for anyone, everyone is at home mostly all day. There isn't much personal time. So it's important to take time for yourself. Reading, one of my number one hobbies, working out, riding the bike, etc. I love those suggestions. We're talking about how to be there for our children. One of the best ways you can be there for them is to make sure that you take time to restore yourself so that you aren't snapping and yelling and nagging and, you know, you're not too short with them and you can be a little more sympathetic when they need you. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Exactly. Love it. So how do we manage all of that stress? How do we manage all these forks in the road, U-turns and left and right turns with our children? And of course, I came up with another acronym. Like I said, medicine is all about them. Mm-hmm. And this one's called TIME. And play time. I hope that sticks with all of us because we're able to use these acronyms to actually, you know, draw information from our children and actually make that decision make that initial diagnosis that, you know, something's changed with my child. They're stressed. So play time. I want you guys to keep that in your mind. Every time you say play time, you'll get the thought like, let me assess my family and my children to see what's actually going on. For playtime, T is for talk, I is for involve, M is for monitor, E is for educate. Let's talk. It's really hard for us after we get off of work and doing all that we do to get down on the floor, play with our kids, to just talk to them about their day, especially if we're stressed out. We've had a stressed out day ourselves, but expressing interest and showing our kids that they're important to us is very, very, very instrumental when we're trying to decipher if they're suffering from stressful situations. So we help our children to cope with stress by talking to them and by causing them to help you think and do things together. We start to cook together. We start problem solving together. We do a lot of after school crafts with our kids, like you were saying, Anika, how you did all the activities with your kids, and we were cooking with our kids. As some of the ladies were putting in the chat. It's important that time that we spend with our kids talking. We kind of are able to have a preview if there's any potential stressful situations that may happen when we talk to our kids. Has anyone been talking to their kids lately?
Not in a nice way. No, I'm just joking. I'm looking at some of the comments. What they're struggling with is she finds herself having trouble getting things done because things that are, you know, should take a little bit of time. It's hard because now you're juggling, you know, being at home with a child all day. And she just says she's emotionally spent. This person said, I'm used to my kids being in my face all day, but since we can't really go out, it's difficult because I don't feel like I have any space. And that's like physical space as well as like emotional space. So I don't know if that is as big a challenge, the talking part. It looks like people are just feeling a little suffocated indoors.
It seems like you all need time to talk to yourself, talk to your spouse, talk to someone who is not a child, time to get involved in self-care, time to monitor our own feelings, time to educate ourselves in a different way, taking that time, that break, you know, from the monotony of the day and caring for the kids to take care of our time. You know, our time as moms and as parents. So it's not unlikely that parents will have caregiver burnout. Mm-hmm. It's not unlikely, especially currently. So this self-care topic becomes important right now. What are you doing for your time, for that me time? Are you able to talk to your friends, maybe get on a chat like this one and talk about things, get in support groups at this time, get involved in other things that have nothing to do with cleaning your house, babysitting your kids. Mm-hmm. And that means, like, you know, volunteering to read to a kids group, you know, virtually, things that are different from what you would normally do. You know, maybe someone who can sew, you sew things, that donate them to your local foster care or to a nursing home and that kind of thing. So kind of changing up your everyday time management as well to include self-care.
I agree with that, because the more you do that, I mean, that happens even before the lockdown, right?
Right.
I have a regular life, I have a job, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. But when I go do my girls' night and I come back, I'm already refreshed. I'm more calm. I'm excited. I'm ready to get my groove on, whatever. You know what I mean? And so just because we are on lockdown, we can do the same thing. So when you talk about that first tea time, I might not be in the mood to get on the ground with a 2-year-old and play and talk. But if I've had some of my own personal time, I went, I stretched, I smelled the flowers, whatever it is. I talked to my girlfriend. She made me laugh. Mm-hmm. Then when my toddler approaches me or my fifth grader asks me the 1,000 questions for the day or whatever, I'm more like, you know what, let's talk. Yeah. And so you have to put yourself in a state where you are less stressed and open to hearing what they have to say. So it does seem like a lot of the moms need the self-care part first, and then we can get ready to engage in, the TIME. So I like that. That's great advice. That's why you got a degree, child. You're good at what you do. Go ahead.
Well, again, the acronym not only goes for kids. As you can see, you could adapt that to your own life. Like, what's playtime look like for you? So you can identify stress in your life. We can identify the play part, which is identifying the stress, and then the time part. What am I going to do to solve that problem? So sometimes we get stuck in the problem, and never find a solution for that problem. And we have to be more solution focused than problem focused, especially right now in the pandemic. Whatever brings you a light insight, whatever brings you, a place of relaxation. Remember, I was talking about that parasympathetic, that cool. What is it for you? For me, it's prayer and meditation. I'm a woman of faith. So for me, in order for me to even be able to do the TIME, I need my time with God. That's just me. Now it could be that could stand for whomever, whatever way it means to you. But I need that. I also need time to journal. That's how I self-talk. I talk to myself, and able to draft the future and able to color, and sometimes I sketch in there. And it takes a lot of effort to do those me time moments. Mm-hmm. But as you can see, if you don't, there's a burnout coming for you. That sympathetic is going to happen. You will be overwhelmed. So it's so important that we just take the playtime acronym and apply it to our own lives as moms.
I like that. You made me think. I'm a journaler. See, start each day with a great part. I love journaling too. It just reminds you to be thankful. But you're right. Whatever it is that gets you centered, it could be
whatever it is. I have parents
your favorite TV show. But I mean, you were saying cooking with kids. Now everybody who knows me knows I don't like to cook. So, but you always see those pictures of people that are cooking with their kids, and the kids are getting flour all over the floor, and they're like, "Oh, this is so much fun." I would be pulling my hair out. But I do know, because my kids helped me today, while my hair is all pulled back. I was rushing, but we just did tacos. But they were in the kitchen with me, but I had a great day earlier. And so I was relaxed. I wasn't stressed. So there was a little shredded lettuce that was on the floor or whatever. I wasn't freaking out. So I cannot stress enough. Just when you take care of yourself, you are just in a much better position to give to others. And when you who is that? Claudia said, it's amazing how you sit in color with your little ones. They open right up. I mean, when you can find that time to get yourself calm and you can give it to them, it is a really beautiful connection with your young minor teenagers. So I'm learning so much stuff about them when we talk, and not me going into their room like, let's have quality time. Just like as we are engaged in things that everybody likes, they open right up. So I agree with you, Claudia, on that. She also did bring back girls' night. Yes, some of us are missing that dearly.
Hey, right now,
right here, Tuesday, Thursdays, Women on the Rise. This is our girls' night substitute.
Yes, since you get involved with Women on the Rise. I mean, call your girlfriends, get on a virtual chat, sip on some mimosa, wine, whatever it may be, or just discuss whatever topic that makes you feel relaxed and it doesn't make you think about I'm a mom. Yeah. And I have responsibilities. That's so important. And I love the fact that we're talking about being involved with our kids, because that's the I. Get involved with them. Help them get involved in making decisions. Like, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? Where do you guys want to go? I know we can't go a lot of places, but you want to go to the park or you want to play outside? Given those choices, they feel like their opinion matter. It boosts their confidence. It releases, any sort of tension they may have. And they actually feel like you cared about what they thought.
Yeah.
So that decreases anxiety, depression, or any kind of mood instability that may be going on, and helps you to monitor the third part, the M, monitor their environment and their exposure, because they're able to tell you about it because you got involved with what they like. You're part of their craft. You got part of their craft. They love that, and then you're able to monitor them while they're talking, while you're involved in their craft. You're monitoring their responses, their reactions, their emotional connections. You're able to do that. And while you're monitoring them, you're able to educate them. Say, hey, how do you feel? You know, what does it mean to be X, Y, and Z? You know, giving definitions to words. It really causes a line of communication to open up like never before.
Yeah.
And again, this happens with you. I mean, I've had times where moms are like playing with their kids and they're like, man, I had an aha moment. I actually was talking to myself, you know, and that happens a lot when you're talking to kids, you know, you're thinking like, I was here trying to teach them and I learned a lesson.
Yeah.
So it's important on both sides, on the parental side, and it's important on the child side. And it builds this time together that you are able to identify where things are going great and where things need improvement. And in all of our lives, there's one of each that we need to work on.
Yeah.
So the last thing, almost last thing I want to tell you guys is how to actually ask your child about stress. It's the same way you'd ask yourself about it. What does the word actually mean? Because some kids will throw that word around. They don't even know what it means. I'm stressed. What does that mean? I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about it. And that's that part of the education piece. You know, we're digging, we're researching, and we're asking, and we're helping them to learn true definitions. How do you know when you're stressed? So you tell them to identify those things. Maybe it's something you've already seen. How do you know when you as an adult are stressed? You know, what causes the child to worry or feel stressed? What causes mommy to worry and feel stressed? What do you feel? What makes it feel better? You know, what helps you feel better when you're stressed, right? What do you do? What does mommy do? What makes her feel better when she's stressed? So again, you can use these for you and for these children that you think that maybe try to drive you crazy, but in truth, they just may have a little bit of stress going on.
Yeah. They pay attention too. My nephew, he's 4. I only have one sister, but when my sister starts to get a little too nuts, he says, "Mom, go get your long glass and get your mommy juice." He means go have some wine, child, and come back because you tripping.
Okay. Because when you have that little mommy juice, you come back all nice and calm. So something's up with
the long thing. Yeah, get you some mommy juice and you know, have a little bit of that, and then we'll come back. I'm gonna watch Puppy Paw Patrol, and you go take care of that and come back. And he's only 4, and he notices the difference.
Wow.
She's not an alcoholic. Let me just put, she's not just drinking it. Don't nobody call something
right.
in St. Louis. I was just giving an example that you can learn from your children, because you know, if we listen to them, it's a two-way street.
It is a two-way street. It's so important. We're actually growing with them. We have to remember. I can't even speak straight. We have to remember we're growing as our children grow. Mm-hmm. Okay. And in each stage of life, I just had this conversation with my sisters. I was like, parents, your style changes in each stage of life. From infancy to toddlerhood to early childhood to you know, school age, teenager, preteen, teenager, adult. The parenting style changes, the parent also changes, and we grow with our child. So if we're not able to identify some things from when they were infants, how are we going to identify them as they're in their preteen years and they're struggling in adolescence with self-identity?
Yeah.
You know, so it's so important. We have to identify with the things that we're trying to teach our children. Yeah. So let's talk about some tips. I know this is so cliche. Don't overschedule. It causes stress. I'm going to put that there. Okay. Don't overschedule. Some of our lives are overly packed with stuff. It causes stress. So let's lighten the schedule. Even as we come out of this pandemic era, let's look back and say, you know, what was different during the pandemic and how I'm going to make it even more different when we come out of it. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do to lighten up this schedule so our children can actually enjoy being children. Okay. And I enjoy being with my children.
Right.
Okay. Don't overemphasize perfection. I mean, growing up, I'm going to be completely honest and vulnerable. I came from a family with a parent who perfection, he could name every child perfection. Mm-hmm. Right. And that caused stress in our home. So I can say this from personal experience. Perfection causes stress. Sometimes it's good stress because we say practice make perfect, but our emphasis can't be on perfection. Mm-hmm. You know, our emphasis must be on rearing our kids, helping them grow and learn and go through a process and doing their best, right? Don't disregard their voices. Again, listening to what they have to say. giving them an opinion, giving them problems to solve. Because when you're talking to them and giving them choices and you're helping them make decisions for their family, they're building critical thinking skills. They're problem solving with you. So they feel like they're part of the nucleus, which is innate. Everyone wants to be a part of something. So ensuring that they're a part. Don't try to say, desensitize stress, because stress is normal. I don't want them to stress. I don't want them to stress. I'm not going to say this. I don't want them to stress. But stress is normal. Remember, we talked about good stress and bad stress. Mm-hmm. So we have to be able to keep that balance, that homeostasis, that parasympathetic. I like that cool parasympathetic fella because he makes you feel good. We want to keep that, the good stress and bad stress, but keep it nice and balanced. Discussing the healthy ways. Now, when you say that, I like to make sure I put this out there. We like to discuss the healthy ways, but we have to see the healthy ways. How's mommy discussing the healthy ways to manage stress? But I don't never see mommy do it.
You gotta mirror it. Yes.
All the time. Giving them a balanced diet. There's lots of research on nutrition and diet and stress. What we eat, we become. If we're eating fatty, greasy, unhealthy, sluggish food, what will we become? Exactly that. So
you don't complain about a toddler being hyper if you're giving them sugar all day.
All day, and don't come complaining. And no, I'm not giving toddler a stimulant for ADHD. Please, ladies and gentlemen, families and friends, no. Let's monitor those things, right? Increasing physical activity, going outside, letting them ride their bikes, that decreases stress. That's endorphins and a good adrenaline that's pumping in our body that elevates the mood. Understanding that serotonin, dopamine, those are words we may not be too familiar with, but they all correlate in keeping homeostasis in our body.
Okay.
Proper rest, sleeping, put those kids down. I understand it's quarantine. We don't have a bedtime for some people.
Not in this house. No, we stay on schedule with you. Gotta be able to go to sleep. Oh my gosh. We actually have somebody here, Christina, I believe. I saw her earlier. She was talking about if we got to talk about sleep. She's a sleep nurse practitioner, which I didn't even know they had those. So if anybody was interested in sort of sleep studies or learning more about the importance of sleep and how it affects stress, Christina is also here to offer her expertise. Because
that's time in Christina. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, there it is right here. Yep. Christina Grabnikas. I hope I said that right. Grabnikas. Yeah.
Please chime in. So many times I have children coming to me, teenagers coming on. I'm saying this and I'm saying it pretty lightly, but I mean it pretty heavily because I am prescribing more and more regimens for children and teenagers, preteens to go to sleep. Because when we are not on a proper cycle, a sleep cycle, it's all, the rhythm is all off. What happens is we deplete our natural body's melatonin, which is what you buy over the counter and make you fall asleep, but it's already made in your body. Right. But when we start, depleting our sleep naturally, that means staying up late, blue light from the screens, TV time, all that kind of stuff, we deplete it. Now we have to build it back up. Now we have a problem with sleeping.
Right.
And also I try to talk about sleep hygiene because what does sleep really look like for you? And insomnia, you have to be 4 hours or so of just maybe 4 hours of sleep to really be diagnosed with insomnia in children. And when you start digging in and you're really looking at those journals, you're really talking to that parent, they are just not on a schedule. So they sleep in late, they go to bed later, and the cycle continues.
Wow. You said sleep hygiene. I thought you were making sure your bed sheets were clean, girl. Okay. Let me go so we don't go too much over our time. Let me let you.
Yeah. Let's just say the same way you brush your teeth, wash your face, wash your hair, you take care of your sleep. Very important. And of course, as parents, maintaining an environment that encourages calm, trust, and security in children, that brings more balance than we actually know. And I'm not trying to tell you keep your house sparkling clean. That's great and everything. But I'm talking about actually keeping that environment that is calm and inviting for their kids to open up, speak to you, and enjoy your presence. It's so important.
Yeah. Claudia said, you all up in my business. We speaking to somebody today. Somebody also said they need Christina's help. Oh, Lord, Christina. Yeah, she had a lot of issues from perimenopause, fibromyalgia, work stress, and sleep is not happening. So it's good if we can connect a couple people and they can talk, afterwards offline about, some of the things we can do to help one another. I mean, that's what Women on the Rise is all about.
That's what we're here for. You know, let's do that. Let's link up. Let's network. You know, and let's grow together. We got to keep healthy to keep growing.
That's right. That's right.
Grow together. You know. So I have to make this point because as a professional, I will guide you the wrong way if I didn't tell you to seek help. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sometimes we've exhausted everything. We've tried every little tip that I gave. You've done it. It's happened. Nothing's working. The behavior is worse. The child is saying they need help, but mom and dad don't have time to take them. Please seek help. Seek help. Seek help. I can't say it more than, I don't know, a bazillion times, time 1,000. Seek help. When you've reached your wit's end and you can't any longer seek help, there are professionals all around you. And in Women Are Arise, there are professionals is inundated with it. That someone you can talk to, network, ask for help, email, call. I mean, Arlene will connect you. We will connect you with someone that can actually help. Teachers start complaining, family and peers, they're all noticing the change, not only in your child, but in you as the parent. Because something's going on with your child. What happens to you? You stress out. So we all need help because like I talked about caregiver burnout, it happens. So seek the help, the professional help that you need. Don't be ashamed of it. Okay. Like I said earlier, it's National, Mental Health Awareness Month. What's the perfect time to reach out to a therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychiatric NP, whoever, to get the help that you need? It's important.
I love it. Did we get through everything?
Well, just going to give you some resources.
Okay.
That you can definitely tap into. Like I said, it's all over the internet. And just contact information for me. If you want to reach out to me, if you want to talk, I'm always here and always happy to help.
That is one. Thank you so much. Oh, I know you helped so many people today. This was wonderful. I know I learned a lot. Play, right? Playtime. Yes, playtime. And that doesn't just apply to kids, it applies to us as well. So thank you so much.
Fun.
I want to remind all of our divas that we're going to be back here again, same time, 6 p.m. For Tuesday session. And that's going to be guest diva Alyssa Hogan. She's going to be talking about being a mom boss. So we're talking about how to juggle things at home. Sometimes you got to juggle things outside the home too, whether you have your own business or you're in a position of leadership. She's going to be talking about being a mom boss and how to balance it all. So please make sure you come back Tuesday at 6 for that. Also tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon, for those of you who may have seen the notices, if you are a female for a woman-owned business, we're going to be talking about how to get certified so that you can take advantage of some of those opportunities that are coming in the city that are looking for women-owned businesses. So 12 noon right here in the Women on the Arise international page or the Women on the Arise group. We're going to be talking about how to learn how to get certified as a woman-owned business. Other than that, I would say, everybody get ready to have a great barbecue for Memorial Day weekend, 3-day weekend. Maybe we can still barbecue. I don't know. We 6 feet. You can still say hi to your neighbor over the fence or, if you're just quarantined with your immediate family, you can still make it fun. But you guys have a great 3-day weekend, although I know Monday is running into Friday and they all seem the same, but enjoy Memorial Day. Thank everybody for taking time to join us. And hopefully we'll see you either tomorrow at noon or next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Bye.
Bye.